In the business world today, there's one challenge that pretty much every company faces. Doesn't matter if you're a tiny startup or a massive enterprise, and that challenge is fragmentation. It's this quiet, invisible thing that just kills efficiency, puts the brakes on growth, and makes every decision harder than it needs to be. But what if you could swap all that chaos for a single, intelligent backbone for your operations? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can do that.
Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dig into the fragmentation challenge and the 6 major bottlenecks it causes. Then we'll pivot to the logic flow solution, show you how it becomes your new operational backbone. And finally, talk about the real-world impact, making your whole organization smarter, faster, and way more efficient. All right, so let's dive right in and define what we're really up against here. We call it the fragmentation challenge, and trust me, it is the universal problem for any modern business. And it really is this simple. No matter what industry you're in or how big you are, your operations are probably spread thin across way too many tools, processes, and databases. This just creates friction. It's like you're trying to run a race with the emergency brake on, and it holds you back from what you could really achieve. Now here's the thing. This problem looks a little different depending on your company's size. For the small teams, it feels like you're drowning in a sea of manual, repetitive tasks. For mid-sized companies, it's that painful moment when the processes that got you to where you are suddenly start to buckle under the weight of your own growth. And for the big enterprises, it's a constant knockdown, drag-out fight against silo data and clunky old systems that just can't keep up anymore. Okay, so we've established this universal problem. Now let's get really specific. Let's break down how this fragmentation creates 6 distinct critical bottlenecks that are directly hurting your growth and your efficiency. And here they are, the 6 horsemen of operational inefficiency. You've got disconnected systems, a lack of automation, poor visibility, huge issues with security and scalability, a lack of integration, and last but not least, operational inconsistency. Logicflow is literally built from the ground up to tackle every single one of these head-on. First up, disconnected systems. Just think about it for a second. Your sales team lives in the CRM. Your HR folks are in their own system. Finance has their own setup. The result? You're constantly copying and pasting data, the reports never quite match up, and trying to make a quick, smart decision, well, it's almost impossible. Bottleneck number 2 is a huge one, a lack of automation. So many businesses are still running on manual processes, an absolute maze of spreadsheets, and constantly bugging the dev team for simple fixes. This isn't just inefficient, it's fragile. The second your business starts to really take off, this whole manual house of cards is the first thing to come crashing down. And that leads us right into bottleneck number 3, poor visibility. When your data is all over the place and your processes are all manual, your analytics are just not going to be reliable. And that means your leaders are forced to make these huge, mission-critical calls based on a foggy, incomplete picture of what's actually happening. That's a massive risk no one should have to take. Now let's talk about the stuff that keeps CTOs up at night, security and scalability. A lot of the old school systems are these rigid, monolithic things. Their access controls are a mess, which makes them vulnerable, and they just can't handle growth without slowing down to a crawl. You should never have to choose between growing your business and keeping it secure. And bottleneck number 5? It's the inability to adapt. Let's be real, businesses have to connect to new tools and change their processes all the time. But when your main system is basically a locked box, every little change or new integration becomes this massive, expensive project. Sometimes it even means you have to rewrite the whole system. It's just not sustainable. And finally, we have operational inconsistency. Think about it. A startup needs to be fast and agile. A company that's scaling needs to add some structure. A huge enterprise demands rock-solid stability and control. The real challenge is finding one platform that can give you exactly what you need at every single stage of your journey. All right, so we've spent a lot of time on the problems. Enough doom and gloom, right? Let's get to the good part. This is the turning point, the logic flow solution. And it's a direct, powerful answer to every single one of those bottlenecks we just talked about. This slide really lays it all out. Instead of those disconnected systems, Logicflow gives you a single, unified ecosystem where everything, your CRM, your finance, your HR, it all speaks the same language. Instead of those clunky manual workflows, it's built from the ground up with an automation-first design. And to solve that unreliable analytics problem, you get real-time, AI-powered dashboards that don't just tell you what happened, they help you understand why. And all of this is built on a truly enterprise-grade foundation. For security, we're talking multi-tenant isolation, which is a fancy way of saying your data is completely walled off and secure from everyone else's. Plus, you get flexible role-based access controls, so you have total say over who sees what. For scalability, it uses service modules that just grow right alongside you, so you never hit that performance wall. And its modular design with open APIs means you can plug in any tool and adapt to any business need you can think of.
And remember that last bottleneck, operational inconsistency? Logicflow completely solves it by just being fundamentally adaptable. It's designed to give a startup that scrappy agility it needs, give a scaling company the structure it craves, and give an enterprise the tight, granular control it demands, all from the same platform.
So look, we're not just talking about another app or another piece of software here. We are talking about something much, much more fundamental. We're talking about your new operational backbone, a system that completely transforms your business from the inside out. This right here is the key takeaway. Logicflow isn't just another tool you bolt onto your existing tech stack. It is the stack. Think of it as the central nervous system for your entire company, making sure every single department, every process, and every piece of data is working together in perfect sync.
So what does all of this actually mean for your business? What's the bottom line? Well, it all comes down to three incredibly powerful words: smarter, faster, and more efficient.
Let's just quickly recap the Logicflow advantage. You completely eliminate fragmentation. You slash manual work and all the human error that comes with it. You get data you can actually trust, so you can make better, faster decisions. You lock down your security and guarantee you can scale. Bottom line, you create a single, intelligent platform that is built for one thing and one thing only: growth.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Right now, your operations might be a source of friction, a major bottleneck that's holding you back. But what if that could change? What if your operations could become your single greatest competitive advantage?